With reaction now is Lincoln Bloomfield, a former U.S. ambassador as well as a national security official in the Reagan and the Bush administrations. Ambassador, coming to the defense of a rogue nation like Iran against the President of the United States doesn't sound like a smart political move for Nancy Pelosi, but she did it. I'm just wondering, when she calls what he did today a grave mistake, what is your reaction to that?
Well, I respectfully disagree with Nancy Pelosi on this. I think that what happens is, when we talk about Iran, we tend to get caught up on the nuclear agreement, when actually I think what you're hearing from President Trump today, and when he spoke at the UN recently in September, is he's talking about everything else Iran is doing, which is against America's interest, which is destabilizing the Middle East, which is executing people at home for no good reason, which is denying the Iranian people a chance to benefit from the nuclear deal. The money is going to the Revolutionary Guards. They're creating havoc across the Middle East. And what he's saying is this is stuff that we should have stopped a long time ago. So actually, you know, many people thought President Trump would tear up the nuclear accord on day one. That's what his Republican primary opponents all said they would do. He's the one who said it's a contract. Right. And frankly, I think it's pretty clever for him to give Congress their day. President Obama gave them a fait accompli.
Well,
this was
not
a done
only President
deal.
Obama, Ambassador, but it goes back several administrations who've been trying to deal with a lot of rogue nations that are on the road to nuclear development. We tried appeasement of a kind with North Korea. That ended up with North Korea becoming nuclearized and now a nuclear threat to the world. I think this president sees it different, that we don't want to appease these rogue nations trying to get nukes. We want to stop them before they get the nukes.
Yes, but it's not all about nukes. That's the point. North Korea cheated on its 1994 framework agreement.
Well, but everybody knew they, excuse me, Ambassador, but so many of us were saying that they would do exactly that, that it was a mistake to try to make a deal with them because we knew they'd cheat on the deal.
Well, and the chief negotiator back then, a respected friend named Bob Gallucci, wrote an op-ed during the Iran talks and said you need to have a plan B in case Iran cheats on the agreement. Now, President Trump is not saying that they've cheated on the accord, and frankly, everything he said is not just about nuclear the nuclear terms of the agreement. He's saying we have some doubts whether they might be planning blueprints to mount a warhead on top of a ballistic missile, that kind of thing. But look at the rest of what he said. It's time to stop Iran's aggression against America and its allies. It has nothing to do with nuclear. Yeah. And frankly, well, quickly, it's the, you know, that's where he's going.
There is one area of the world where, unfortunately, we're on the ground. Our troops are on the ground with Iranian troops, or at least Iranian proxies, and that's in Iraq. Iran has a lot of control over a lot of Shia militia there who are right on the ground with U.S. troops. They're working together against ISIS, but Iran could turn that around if they want to. Is that the biggest threat that you see right now in terms of their reaction to this?
Hard to say, because, you know, the Revolutionary Guards last week just threatened to unleash ballistic missiles against our forces all over the Gulf. But you're right, they are side by side. They're not on the same page. They're not. The Iranian-backed militias in Iraq are not part of the Iraqi security forces officially. So it's a pretty delicate situation. Another reason to respect our troops for doing a very carefully tailored mission. I think we are going to exact a price if Iran tries to push its luck too far. I think the tide needs to turn.
It's not without risk, but a lot of people think it's about time. Ambassador, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, David.